we want to use it for creation, and we think that the ends justify the means in terms of using these particular tools, which are problematic, towards feeding the imaginal realm with as many visions, counter visions to what the news is feeding us, to how the regimes are treating using AI, which is already pretty propaganda-ish and scary, and to what the future looks like in our collective imagination in Hollywood right now, which is pretty dire and pretty dystopic. Well, I think we've got enough people to start. It should be fun.
Yeah.
Should be a loose, fun, lively conversation is what we were thinking.
Amongst friends
And other friends.
So everybody, welcome to our, my Liminal News feed here. And I'm here with Ari Kuschnir and Schuyler Brown, who are both old friends. And we are doing a course together next month on how to produce short, impactful, socially and spiritually conscious AI videos.
Yep.
And Ari has been making waves in the world with his videos going back to the Trump drinking ayahuasca. That's still the one that I show people all the time, just because the photos of Trump in his like Indian shirts and like with his beard is just like too hilarious. But yeah, there was a whole bunch. What's that?
When we've shown those to an audience, that gets a big laugh when he comes in and
the second act.
His new outfit, his new look is like
that is so insane. I don't think that's going to happen in his life. There was actually I just visited a few weeks ago. Ari did a presentation in the Museum of the Moving Image in Queens, and somebody had a kind of interesting pushback. No, actually, it wasn't even a pushback. They weren't even talking about your material. They were talking about using Sora and creating like fake memories. This eerie sense that those fake memories almost began to feel like real memories if they saw themselves in some kind of scene or something. And when you originally started doing these videos, I had mixed feelings. Some people also voiced those mixed feelings in the comments and so on. That in a way, it could create a false sense of like maybe things are okay somehow. Like maybe these guys aren't so bad. They do have this potential for empathy or enlightenment or whatever. And we might actually like numb people out a little bit more in a strange way. So that was I had that qualm at first, but then over time, I mean, our whole situation is just so ridiculous at this point that I felt you might as well try to use these figures and work with those archetypes and those energies that are coming through that dimension in however you can to kind of offer a different idea. But Ari, you want to maybe just start and talk a little bit about your inspiration and your process, all that stuff?
Yeah, and I'd love to address that with you also because they kind of are a reflection of each moment. And that one, the Trump ayahuasca one, was a reflection of August of 2024, where he was candidate Trump, where you could see he was gaining momentum again. And I was dealing with like, oh, he's going to probably be president again because we know it was just hard to imagine between the Biden-Kamala thing that it was going to work. So it was kind of me coming to terms with him again. And that's where it came from. Realizing that you could do it. It was the first week that Grok had come out and you could do it. And also me coming to terms with him. So kind of like working out the stuff and seeing him in a different light. But, I wouldn't make that piece right now. Like the piece that I made this summer, a summer later, was the MAGA Ballroom 2028, which hits a lot harder. And that was kind of my point to the person in the comments who was like, hey, it shows them in this way that I don't want to see Elon and Trump. It's like, well, I get it. And at the same time, like, this is the stuff I'm making now because this summer felt very dark and very, it was sort of like the ice rays and it had a much darker, it's kind of like changed now even. Like I wouldn't make MAGA Ballroom now. Like we're in a different, I'm trying to figure out if I should make something for Christmas. I had the idea of the Christmas Carol with Epstein and Trump and Epstein as
Jacob
Marley and the ghosts who would be the ghosts of Christmas, past, present, and future for him. Maybe maybe in the comments, the people who are here, the 50 or so people could offer up who they think because I'm still open to it, but I haven't felt like that design. Usually I feel like it's inevitable and I have to make it. And I haven't felt that with this one, but I love the idea. So if we could figure out who the ghosts of the Trump Christmas Carol, his ghosts would be. The past ghost could be somebody like Roy Cohn, who taught him everything and ended up in
I mean, a lot of people think that he may have had Ivanka bumped off.
Oof.
Right.
You know, 'cause he used to apparently talk about pushing his, wives or whatever down the stairs and ending their lives. And but when she died in this, weird circumstance, he buried her on his golf course.
Oh, that's right. That was very strange.
So he wouldn't have to pay taxes. So the golf course is not like a cemetery, so he doesn't have to pay. I mean, it's like
so she would be a great one. We'd have to ask permission to make sure we're doing the right kind of magic. But present could be the MAGA voters who are having second doubts, who are, like the ones who are not having a great Christmas because of inflation, because they lost their jobs, or buyers what is it called? Buyer's regret, remorse. And the future. Who would be the ghost of the future? You're the most
well. In the Christmas Carol, right? The ghost of the future is veiled. You never see that one. I don't think.
Probably Musk's little son, right? The one who kept showing up.
I thought of him too as as Tiny Tim.
Are there any good ideas in the chat for
nothing's come up? Nothing's come up yet. I think maybe we have to warm people up a little bit. So if you want to see Ari's videos, a lot of them are featured on his Instagram page, which I think is just his name, Ari Kuschnir, Kuschnir. The MAGA Ballroom was a really good one, and that one seemed to get a lot of traction, right? That one
that's the most recent, most viral one. And then I've done overarching is I have been doing these AI experiments for over 2 years now, and before that I've run a production company called Missing Pieces, and have 20 years experience in short form content and creating these experiences and learning how to tell stories in a very compressed way. So I went to film school, and I'm an editor. I love editing. And so all these things came together for when the AI started to get good enough for me to, I was pretty bottled up in terms of expressing myself. So I was able to express myself. And with the Trump ayahuasca, starting with that one, and then the Elon one and some of the other ones, was quickly, along with Schuyler and our mutual friend David Sauvage, who has written some of them, like the Bibi Netanyahu one. The first couple were transmutations of leaders, and then I expanded from there. So I was able to express myself, and it resonated with a lot of people, and a lot of people started reaching out, and it seemed like it was offering a place where it wasn't quite satire, and it wasn't quite the other thing that I would get criticized for. It's not like it's like I'm trying to create an alternative reality where the impossible is possible, and where we can digest and transmute, if we're talking about alchemy, because you called it mastering the alchemy of AI storytelling. I do believe, we believe that it's alchemy, what we're doing. These are digital spells, to show the culture and the leaders in a different light. Because I believe that if we don't have alternatives to the present or the future, all we have is doom scrolling the news, which is pretty gloom and doom. And the future is all dystopian in the culture and in the AI. If you type in "show me the future," you see a very bleak version of the future. So if that's what we're locked into, we just don't have alternatives. So the need is to create alternatives. And with this course, the hope is between Schuyler's experience, which we'll talk about, the practices, the embodiment, the expertise there, your expertise, Daniel, and your ability to kind of like galaxy brain and tie it to the occult, and my expertise as a storyteller with these new AI tools. Can we gather a group of people, 50 or 100 people, and teach them these tools so that they too can become part of this team light effort, this counter insurgent storytelling effort against the darker forces. Now we're using a tool that's controversial, but we're using, like all tools, it can be used for destruction or creation. We want to use it for creation, and we think that the ends justify the means, in terms of using these particular tools, which are problematic, towards feeding the imaginal realm with as many visions, counter visions to what the news is feeding us, to what how the regimes are treating using AI, which is already pretty propaganda-ish and scary, and to what the future looks like in our collective imagination in Hollywood right now, which is pretty dire and pretty dystopic. So we need it. I feel like we need it. I normally wouldn't do a course. I resisted doing a course for over a year. But you, with your powers of persuasion and bringing Schuyler along, made me feel like the three of us, can actually not just teach people how to tell these stories, but how to embody and
the actual transformation.
Yes, and AI, and how to relate to AI, which I think you should talk to a little bit about, which is just as important in a way, like the agency part. I mean, now we're all watching this show, Pluribus, which Daniel, you wrote about, and we just watched the first 2 or 3 episodes, and it's clearly like some kind of AI metaphor. It's her against the AI, and you can see how important she's grappling with the human agency, and what is left of the individual versus this collective thing. So that's a very important thing. When I use these tools a lot, Sky notices. I was on a deadline to working on the short film for this contest a week and a half ago, and pushed it to the edge, and I became pretty disembodied. So it really is touch and go, and it's delicate, and we see a lot of people losing their minds and ending up in really bad shape because of what ChatGPT tells them, or Gemini or whatever. So we really need to be careful. We're playing with, what is it? The technology of the gods
without the wisdom of the gods.
Without the wisdom of the gods, yeah. So maybe you could.
Well, hold on. I want to see what Daniel's. That was beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
I love that.
Yeah, but I guess I was gonna, pass the buck to Schuyler a little bit, but yeah, I mean, Schuyler, I'm kind of even surprised because you got really into like embodiment and nature and so on. Like, I'm surprised you're even like
dragged into this.
Dragged in.
It's like making mandalas. She's like making mandalas and hugging trees and making people touch.
Now you can do that with AI. You can just say, "Make me a mandala of like flowers and stuff."
No, I'm gonna make the people in the course make mandalas in nature. Like that would be one of our assignments.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to balance it, and we also maybe you speak to this because this is a very important. Not lose our humanity and our connection.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like how you frame it, Daniel. It is surprising to me too that I'm sitting here and that like I have to do this like little check where I'm like, wait, what am I doing? Yeah. But as Ari said, I mean, I began to notice the effect working with the technology had on him because we live together, because we're partners, and it was very like in my space, and I was like, okay, well, let's deal with this. And so like from like very simply speaking, we're talking about grounding, we're talking about breathing, we're talking about, disconnecting from the technology is very speedy. So I noticed like a speediness in Ari when he's been working with it a lot. And so like, all right, let's go for a walk. Let's go hug a tree. Let's go make a mandala. So that's at one level. It's just that. It's like the physiology. It's like yoga of working with this tool. And then there's also the alchemy and the transmutation part and the resonance, like being true to well, I mean, like, as you know, I also, like Ari, have a background in strategy and advertising futurism. And so I'm very interested in the culture. And so culture change is also important to me, like this alchemy part. And there's like a fidelity to the human experience, including the emotional, attunement of these videos. So Ari will often pass videos by me, and I'm like, no, like that's psychopathic. Like that, no, I can't feel that character at all. Or
Where's the feminine?
Where's the feminine? Where's the nature? Like, because the technology defaults, partly I think because of who made it and where it was made, to a very sterile, not natural and masculine kind of like that's the default mode of the technology. And so I think it's experimental. Like I would invite us as a group during the course to watch and pay attention to, where we want to insert more nature and the elements and the body and emotions into our storytelling.
And also, you've done a lot of work in group coherence and taking groups, facilitation and coherence of large groups. And I think this is key here, because if we can get a level of coherence with the collective, I think we can get really, even Daniel, and the thing that we did in the summer, we got some great ideas out of that, just that 1 hour and the follow up on the what's up, like people were just lit up and all these ideas. And I think that was the birth of this course. So the hope is, can we get a level of coherence, and can you help us harness that coherence and guide that coherence so that we can create as a collective,
Yeah, without being pluribus.
without turning into pluribus.
Well, this is very fascinating, because there's like, I noticed I have the full range of like feeling kind of like horror from their joined condition, but then also kind of like envious at the same time.
Same. I was like, I want to be one of those.
Yeah.
You kind of juxtapose between like, wow, it'd be so great to be in the,
It's a metaphor of many different.
What are you making
things
there,
at once.
Daniel? Are you making some tea?
I was going to make myself a cup of coffee,
I knew it. I was like, he's making a cappuccino.
Yes.
or at least espresso.
Espresso. I totally felt that.
Yeah.
We're already pluribus, Daniel. We're hive mind already.
Yeah. So this is important. The question of coherence is important. The question of not losing your identity and your individual gift is important. And I have a particular question, which is, can you teach? I mean, this is something you and I talked about, and this took me a little bit to get through, is I feel like what I do is quite unique. And so I don't know if I can teach it.
Right.
But you convinced me, because you do these writing courses, and Sky has done a lot of embodiment and subtle body courses, and that's even harder to teach, that you can teach these things, And even now we were listening to this thing, telepathy tapes about healing, and then we were listening to an old lecture about healing, and the person was making this case of everyone can heal. Everyone
can.
he can turn everyone into a healer, because it's just a coherence thing, and the energy runs through you. And so in the end, it's like, can everyone be a storyteller? And he says some will heal better than others, of course, and so some will create better stories than others. Editing is an art form that's taken me 25 years to master. Can I teach people how to edit? Sure. Can they edit the way I edit? Probably not, but it's enough to get people going and playing.
I think play is really an important way.
Yeah, having fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, Ari, maybe you could say, this started for Ari through play with his daughter. Like, he began making the AI films for fun and reclaimed a lot of his, like, a more immediate relationship to his creativity. Like, the tool allows you to have the vision and execute so quickly. And so they were making little movies. She'd be like, oh, and now the cats can do this, and now they say this. And so I think that spirit of play is something we would like to encourage into the space. Because it can be heavy otherwise.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of the AI stuff, having been a filmmaker and having worked with filmmakers and having been on sets with hundreds of people, the machinery, the agencies, the clients. The beauty here is it's like painting. It's more like writing or painting, making AI shorts, because it's just your idea, the vision, and that's what we're going to also get attuned to. It's like we want to channel, in a way, we want to download, let's say, these ideas from the higher places, like there's sort of like two schools. There's like of artists. There's like whatever comes, I'll do.
Right.
And then there's like,
that's the Stephen King school.
Yeah, like Stephen King, all right, whatever. Whoever is nearby, or like Trump feels like that. Like whatever is near takes over his psyche. We want to call in specifically and do it as a sacred thing, and call in these higher, let's call it higher realms or higher sources of inspiration, so that we can create the more beautiful world, so that we can create these visions, these alternative visions, so that we can transmute using the alchemy of storytelling, the current situation for ourselves. It's part therapy, part we need it. We really desperately need it in the culture. Sometimes I'll sit there and be like, someone's gonna do it and nobody will do it. And I can't believe I'm the only one that has to go and do the like response to the Trump poop video or something like that.
Right.
Like there has to be others, that are thinking like, well, it's karma. If you crap on people, you get crapped on. That's how karma works. And so I have the chance. I have to make the video where he's in a kind of horror movie where he gets the nightmare scenario because he made that provocation. What goes around comes around, and a lot of people got that in the comments. So I'm often working with these with karma. To Trump MAGA Ballroom is about karma, action and reaction. You see Stephen Miller, and then you cut to people, Latinos for Trump, who voted for Trump, and now they're arresting the father or the cousin, which has happened now. So it's like you action and reaction. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. This is so for me, there's always a deeper, bigger message. It's not like we're just going to make propaganda for a side, or we're just going to, it has to be post-political in some way. And I understand that, like, the kind of counter argument to that, but we got to get out of the polarization politics thing into a bigger thing. And this is a way to suggest that is film, video, AI, shorts are a very powerful way to suggest that, or to feel that, because, it's an experience. Like it takes you on a journey. The story takes you on a journey.
Yeah, I liked what you were just saying about how the AI video making process is closer to, you said writing or kind of painting in a way?
Yeah.
Yeah, because basically, ultimately you're a lot of it is just transferring prose into image, into matter in a way.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see, when I did these writing seminars, after a while, I actually was very impressed by how much better people got. And it was cool because like my mother used to teach graduate writing to, people who were like just in their 20s, who just went from college to graduate school. And she would always be very frustrated because they didn't really have much to say. And even if they learned the mechanics, there was still kind of like not much content there. When I did the writing courses, it was people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s, who had a lot of rich, life experience to draw upon. They just didn't have the mechanics for writing. And I saw people get a lot better really quickly, but sometimes also like I would finally people feel were like, oh, well, I'm really impressed now. Like, I totally think you could write a book and a book I'd want to read and so on. And then they would kind of like stop at that point, so that was sort of interesting. Like, I guess, yeah, people, the creative process, I think people are a lot of times maybe just scared to unleash their own creativity into the world,
Yeah.
But maybe the somewhat anonymous nature of these videos. I guess one question is like, if people learn these skills but then apply them to a workplace situation or to something more commercial, for me, that's kind of like c'est la vie. Like, that's not our intended purpose, but I think that people probably will do that, because that's just going to happen. So I don't really have a problem if people do that. But yeah, it feels like, there are a lot of other veins. You're doing these kind of like photorealist style that often has, these, representational figures. I've discovered also ones that have more like a hand-drawn style that maybe use different types of imagery and so on. So I'm really wondering,
Yeah.
what the full range is of what one could do.
There's been this is making me think. There's been a few. One thing that I want to impart is that the kind of AI videos that I want to make are videos that you would never, and want to teach in a way, are videos you would never be able to make otherwise without the AI. Because you can go out in there and learn and make a film. You can't make the Trump Ballroom or the ayahuasca one. Like, that's just not a thing. Or Love Force One, with the plane and the healing and the aliens. Like, there's only one way to make that, and it's with AI. And so, but there are, like you're saying, different modalities. So we will learn, here's how to prompt. And when you learn to prompt, you really can prompt in any style. So, you probably use Nano Banana Pro is right now, the main best one, but it can do everything from photoreal. Yeah,
For-
this is to get a still. So the
yeah.
way it works is we're going to get a great still first, and we're going to learn a little bit about composition and shot composition and basic storytelling, which applies to everything. And then once you have a great still, you take it into either VO3 or Kling just came out with a new model that's very good, or there's Sora. There's a couple, and we transform that still into a 5 or 8 second video, depending, or 10-second video, depending on the program we're using. And there we need camera moves, and we need to know the language of, what effect does a zoom in give you on a character or versus just leaving the camera alone or going around or these kind of things. So we'll practice these things, but you're right. We don't just want to stay in like live action representational type thing because it can do anything. We saw there's some great one that I think I sent you of the painting, like a moving painting, someone did one of Van Gogh and someone did one of just like, it looks like oils that are moving that we can put, if somebody can find it, can put it on the chat. People are discovering nearly every week a new, this is the magic of it. Someone could discover a texture or a look and feel that you just haven't seen before,
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, the other thing I would say is I think it would be nice in this course too to play with the art of transmission, like really, like not just at the level of content, like storytelling, just like, A then B happens and C happens as a result, like actually bringing the story from the heart.
Yes.
And being very clear about intention, because just then you said we start with a still, but actually we start with the idea, the vision, where that's coming from, what the intended result is. And like, I think, and this is where I feel like, Daniel, I took one of your writing courses and during COVID, and I thought you were an incredible teacher, by the way. Yeah, it's part of your genius actually is teaching. And so
you have that too.
Yeah, I mean, I love this part before even we get like the refinement of the story, where it's coming from, and like helping, like really transmitting the intention from the soul level for me, like what is it, the thing that you really want to say, like through that creative channel. And then it might be a poem that people write and then illustrate with the video. We've done a lot of that where I channel a poem and then Ari has put visuals to the poem. It's more abstract, it's very beautiful, it's a beautiful way to bring your words to life. So I think there are many art forms that we can uncover and help people bring forward.
Yeah, I think we can activate people and we can find, like you have done in the writing and you have done in the subtle energy and subtle body and embodiment courses. And I haven't done this, but I will only do this because I'm with both of you. And we are going to not just teach what a zoom in is, because that's so boring to me at the end of the day. Like if I was doing a typical course, I'd be bored by it, because I don't like teaching people just the basics of storytelling, unless the storytelling is going to be for transformational purposes, which what I feel like the opportunity is here at AI. So that's the key.
By the way, if people who are tuning into this want to ask a question, please do so in the chat. The chat is open for questions. But how do you square away? And I don't actually have an answer for this, to be honest. The seems to me this very kind of unfortunately, I mean, I get a lot from AI and I use it all the time in my research, and it's been an incredible tool for me. But I do have this feeling of it having a kind of malevolent undertone. I mean, you have I recently moderated a discussion around this book, If Anybody Builds It, Everybody Dies, by these two AI experts who think that if we achieve artificial superintelligence, it has like a very large % chance of driving humanity extinct. There's a book by Kate Crawford wrote a book, Atlas of AI, around the ecological consequences, which are quite devastating. Obviously there's also what's happening with work, the sense that it's going to make a lot of jobs obsolete. Even like Bernie Sanders just issued a report, and even the figures that he came up with were like staggering, like 50% of nursing jobs and all these people, just
We
like
need the nurses.
Yeah.
what's that?
It's just like there's no consideration for the human touch, for the care, the immeasurable, like that which cannot be measured. Like, how are you going to replace a nurse with an AI? It's just like it's like mind-boggling to me, but ongoingly.
Yeah.
Not new. That's not new news.
But
Yeah.
we're already seeing it with like drivers.
Oh yeah, it's already happening.
Well, and teachers, I mean, it's like the difference between learning from a human.
So yeah, I get that. Yeah,
Go ahead.
I mean, a lot of people in my extended circles are almost feeling like the best thing is just to either avoid the technology, I guess, yeah, or like even my daughter, she she uses it obviously here and there, but she really doesn't like it. Like a lot of my younger friends are really allergic to it, actually. So then I felt a little bit guilty about doing the course. Like, am I actually leading people into like a a bad path, towards
Yeah.
this AI future? And I'm just kind of curious. And even when you're like trying to do good videos, I do get a weird feeling, like an undertone of soullessness. Like,
Yeah.
they're sort of caricatures, but there's always sort of like lugubrious, is that the right word? Kind of quality to AI stuff. Um, yeah, I'm just curious for you, Ari and Skylar. Also, how do you square away, the value in using this thing at this point in time with everything we know about it, with the sort of downsides of it.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing is we have to focus on the actual tools that we're going to be using, which are generative AI for stills and images and sound. And some of those are problematic in the sense that of the copyright issues and all the stuff that's coming up. And some of them are ethical, like Moon Valley, which we can use, which friends of mine have built ethically trained model on, and so everyone's compensated and it's done right. And we'll see more of that also. But yeah, it's sort of like this is the conundrum of our time. It's like we're all right now. We're talking through a device that has a conflict mineral in it, and everyone here is listening to it with that. And we've accepted that somehow the this is equal is more important than to shut down all the iPhones or whatever. And I'm not saying this is the exact comparison because of the conflict mineral in it. Everything, the whole modern system seems to be problematic at its core. And you've written a lot about this where it's like, revolution and do we start over or do we take the existing system? And so I feel like that. I feel like you, where it's like, let's take the tools and use them for good because the dark forces are very well organized and these are tools that can be used. They're probably being funded by dark forces and being used for nefarious purposes, but can also be transformational and be used by Team Light if we all cohere in the right way, channel the right thing, and put out the right kinds of stories. How else is the world going to change but in the imaginal and the writing, in the way we show up into the world and the healing and the trauma work that we do, and in the stories that we tell? Like that's where it starts for me.
Let me also just say that I would love to hold that tension in our workshop.
Yeah, we don't have to hide from it.
Yeah, I think like that.
Feel it.
Like we can actually work with that in the field. Like we can transmute or explore or like hold the tension within ourselves. Like, yeah, we don't have to act like it's not there.
Yeah.
I certainly feel it. I will say I actually got a message, which is one of like I got a message early on when Ari was working with these tools.
Like a text message or like a kind of message? or
No, I was
like your guys and your guides?
Yeah, these were my guides, not my guys.
Not your guys. Okay.
Yeah, no, we were sitting in a Tribeca film festival like a year and a half ago watching the AI shorts. And I got like just all of a sudden this psychic, very strong message that was, you have to deal with this shit. That's how my guides talk. So, and it hit me viscerally. I thought I was going to throw up. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of freaking out. And like my friend Juanita says, your mission isn't always something you want to do. And I felt it on that level, kind of what Ari was saying. It was like, it's fucking here. Like, you got to deal with this shit. And so I'm figuring out what that means for me. And at any moment I could jump ship. I also, Daniel, have noticed a lot of the beautiful, brilliant young people around me, including my own daughter, 15 years old, are pretty anti and not really using it. She has never watched one of Ari's videos. And early on, I was sending her the videos because I thought she would enjoy them because they're funny or whatever, pop culture-y. And she's interested in politics. She's worried about things, and she never watched one. And at first I was like, kind of, I didn't understand that. And then I stopped asking her to watch them because I realized that there was something like deep in her that was in resistance, like didn't want to. And so, yeah. So, I mean, we could jump ship, like it's kind of a moment, but to moment experiment.
And at the
Yeah.
same time, yeah, I feel like if I don't do this, because I didn't want to do the course at first, but if I don't do it, then the darker people are just going to get lured into these other places where people are going to teach people how to do this shit and not give them any of the metaphysics that you,
Mhm.
Daniel, have, and Schuyler, all the practices and embodiment. And they're just going to become puppets for even darker shit to come out.
Mm.
So then people are just going to use it as like, yeah, let's come up with a story. It's just like vomiting all this not stuff, and more of the dystopian stuff will just, or the slop as they call it, will fill the feed. So we have to, the forces of light are always disorganized and small and can't get along with each other and are it's like, Daniel, how many conferences have you been not invited to because you've been too honest? It's like
No,
yeah, it's like the team light is a mess. The dark forces are super well organized, by the way.
yeah.
Military precision, global. The team light is a total mess, can barely talk to each other.
Aw.
And when they do come together, it's hard to get coherence, and there's issues, and there's interference, and then it falls apart, and then
Yeah.
you have your little pod here, and I have my little pod there, and John Churchill's over there with the
Yeah.
planetary Dharma, and he's here, and we're trying to talk to each other,
Completely.
So we need
It's a
some
massive problem.
version of it.
We need to become pluribus. We have some
pluribus. We
have
need
some
some team
questions.
like pluribus.
we have some comments and questions. I didn't even quite
Yeah.
see them. They were scrolling.
Yeah.
Pat Ryan, when we accept AI replacement in healthcare and music, wherever, we only do so because our human capacities are in atrophy. People are more machine-like. As machines, AI develop human-like capacities. Seems like one worthy thing you all could explore is methods to reattach us to more primal, earthbound aspects of being human. So embodiment, limits, ecological limits. Could perhaps be brought home. Let's see, some more.
Well, hold on, because
powerful
let's address that, because that is
and
what
some more
why Sky is here.
collective work and projects. Comments? Okay, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that's why Ari wanted me to join. That's why I wanted to join. Also, I just enjoy you all so much, and I think we can have a lot of fun. But yeah, I totally agree that so many of our human abilities have atrophied, and our sensitivities and our empathy, like we have superpowers as humans. And that was one of the questions that was very big initially when AI, just hit us, was, oh, well, what will this help us learn about being human? And I'm really interested in that question. And to that end, I would mention Bonita Roy's.
Oh yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, her new.
We should have her as a guest in one of the courses,
The breakouts or whatever. Yeah, like she's trained up an AI based on her life's work, that identifies the malware in human thinking from modernity. Like this is modernity's glitches in the malware is a great word for it in human thinking. And so
what's it called? Can someone put it on the chat?
It's like GSNV, I think.
Maybe somebody can find it and put it on the chat, because we are on the
Bonita Roy. But it's like we couldn't see that. Like, she's always talking about the fact that you need a non-human intelligence to show humans our blind spots. And that can be plants, that can be animals, that can be deities, it could be angels, and it can be AI. You know, it's like we need something outside of ourselves to reflect back to us. And her model happens to be trained up on, it's brilliant.
So we should run the stories through her. The stories that we come up with, Daniel, we should run through. We should bring her in that moment, maybe second or third session, and have everyone run through beforehand through her AI for feedback.
Yeah.
Because it kind of like debugs
It debugs
the modern malaise through the AI. So this is a great use of AI for good. That she, who's also a person who works with horses and is super farmer, is doing, because she realizes if she doesn't do this, we're going to have the disembodied, modern malaise ChatGPT, and no counter to it. No AI agent to counter that.
Have you run through your stories?
Not yet, right?
Not yet.
She suggested it. She's like, put your work in.
Yeah, I want to do it next time I have one. I want to run it through.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking about the Ghost of Christmas Carol, Trump edition, Christmas special.
You just did a piece for a contest, I understand, that Google was holding about AI.
Yeah, I wanted to push myself, and me and David had come up with a script that he had kind of like brought through in the way that I want to, and maybe we could have him as another guest to help us with that, how to bring through these kinds of stories. It felt very far out, and it fit with the theme of this. It's called the 1 Billion Summit, and it's an AI film festival that's offering, it just closed, $1 million for a 7 to 10 minute short about the future and about invisible. There were two themes you could choose from. And the future theme, Rewrite the Future, was perfect for this story. And the technology got just good enough with the Nano by Nano Pro arrival that we could actually make this story, but it took everything we had to finish on time for Friday.
It's still in like 8-second chunks, right? Is it still in 8-second chunks, or can it do more than that?
Yeah, you're still in 8-second chunks, and you're having to deal with all these issues, and to get it to look like,
oh my God, they were wrestling.
And to get it to act. I mean, this is the thing, is like we'll learn the two ways to get acting. Now you can basically you can film yourself or film a friend who's an actor, and then with Runway Act 2 or the other one that just came out from NVIDIA, you can then kind of avatar yourself into a new world with your phone. And we'll do that. We'll test that because that's more realistic. And that's why Avatar feels better, because it's human captured performances, motion capture with the world overlaid on top of it versus creating it from scratch. We were trying to create it from scratch because you could only work with Google tools. And boy, these people can't act.
Terrible.
One of our friends, director, is doing a series that's gone quite viral, where he tries to audition AI actors, and it's hilarious because they're so bad. Like, you try to get a performance out of an AI actor, and it sucks. You have to trick it. David realized that you have to say, like, if you say, like, she says in a sad and solemn way, she's like, oh my God, it's like it's like trained on soap operas or something. It's terrible. So you have to subtly and quietly and calmly, and like you have to give it all these adjectives so that it doesn't go off the rails.
I mean, 2 months from now, it might also be all better. I mean,
that's the thing, is like by the time the course starts, maybe we get a new model, and we're working with that, and we're all learning that, because I have to learn it every time a new model comes out. I have to learn.
Yeah, I mean, it brings me back to this question, this ambivalence about the tool and how we hold that in the course, because it actually, like, Ari filmed me the other day with this tool that he's talking about, and then de-aged me so I could have a conversation with my younger self. So 50-year-old me, and then we used some old photographs, and then I spoke, and then he made the 20-year-old me. And as she was coming into formation, it was like a really like a lot was happening for me. First of all, she still felt, even when she ended up looking like me around my 20s, she was soulless. There was no there. Like the AI could make me very beautiful in terms of having this like smooth skin and whatever, but the spark wasn't there. And so then we asked it to give it a spark, and it looked demonic because it literally put a light in my eyes. So like, but that was like an actual like it like I can imagine that our participants, like I would love to be there for that experience, for that, like there's some holding that needs to happen there. There's some like some conversation around that, or some processing around that we can do together as a group.
Things get weird. Yeah. So
Things get weird.
that would be a great thing to say to the 100 or so people that are watching, is that we'll have some guests. I mean, I think Doug Rushkoff, I did his podcast and he wanted to come on. Daniel, I know he's an old friend of yours, and Bonita Roy, I think we want to ask, and maybe David and a few other people, so that we have these guests also coming in with their unique expertise, and kind of like dropping them in at the right place in the process, because we're going to be moving from, like Sky said, from first like coherence and creation of a story from the right place to, okay, now how do you prompt it in the style that you want in a single image, to how do you then turn that into a video, to then how do you turn that in video into an edit with other videos and with music, how do you use 11 Labs for voiceover, how do you use Suno to help create music. One thing that I found very effective is to counter the AI is to always try to use a human element. So we were doing a project where the voice over is still a human, but the images and the video ended up being mostly AI. But that counters because you can feel that voice being very human. So that's like Sky's saying with the poem, like her voice is her voice. But then we found a beautiful visual abstract way to visualize some of the ideas of the poem. And we hope to impart and open ways in which we can do that together.
Yeah, I've been playing with 11 Labs and HeyGen, trying to create a digital avatar of myself, because there's so many things I would love to get out, but I just don't have the time to like turn them into videos. And also, when I do public speaking, certainly in the beginning, I often start with a lot of like, a huge boon, but it does have that soulless quality still, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have some other questions, comments here.
Yeah, let's do questions because we have a few minutes.
Let's see. Oh shit.
Maybe say the name of the person so that we can address them. I'm gonna get some.
Somebody Swampseer writes, it's easy to be manipulated when you're in panic mode because there's lots of misinformation about the potential of this technology. True. I mean, it's a very confusing time. Like, there are people who think that it's way overhyped, and some people think that it's about to eliminate all white collar jobs for everybody, and we'll have to have a universal basic income to prevent mass starvation. There's also some people who think that, but I've been doing some research on this, that, because people are like, okay, well, if AI takes all the jobs, then that means there's no consumers to buy anything. So capitalism just collapses. So apparently one theory is that the AI could also become consumers. So it would just be like super wealthy people using AI to sell and buy stuff from AIs.
That's the story we don't want to tell. That's a story we don't want to tell in the course. As an example, what's the counter?
But maybe sometimes you do have to tell the really horrible story.
Yeah. No, listen, I don't disparage dystopia. I just don't want to see every future be a dystopian one. Give me, there can't just be Wakanda and one other one in the culture. Like, give me like.
We need more Wakanda.
Yeah, we need different versions of the sacred utopian futures. Let's make some of those.
It is, yeah. It's always surprisingly hard to make these compelling future utopian visions. They always feel like they're reaching. So Pat Ryan, Jay asks, is it too late to enroll in the course? Absolutely not, Jay. We're now seeking students, and if you go to danielpinchbeck.substack.com, you can find link, and we're offering this weekend $300 off. So the course is $500 for 6 weeks. And also, we're open to giving people, partial scholarships, even full scholarships if they really are in dire straits, because we really want people to have access to it.
And I'm gonna send a definitive list of tools that we're gonna have to subscribe to. I'm hoping
Yeah.
to use either FreePick or Higgsfield as a kind of, these are aggregators that have all the models for images and for video and some for even sound. So then we kind of centralize everything in one of them. But we'll follow up with that. But yeah, maybe you can put the link of the course in the chat, or someone can do that from Liminal.
Well, if they just go to liminal.news, they can find it. But to get the actual coupon for the discount, I'm not going to be able to do that now. They're going to have to go to probably my Substack would be the easiest.
Cool.
I think I put it in the body of this email too, but not everybody got it, I guess. So somebody asked Pat Ryan, could AI be trained or taught that life itself has intrinsic value? So this is the famous alignment problem. Could AI be taught to understand that finite sustainable limits, and therefore some measure of material equality is of value? Would this be asking to have AI wish itself to become human?
That's beyond my paycheck, as they say, but that's outside of my realm. We can speculate. I think this is what Bonita is after with her. She's putting all these principles, sacred and natural laws and key things into the AI so that it is valuing life in the same way that the most evolved version of us would, right? As I understand it.
Yeah, I don't understand it any more than that.
That's the we need Daniel, you're the one that understands this at the most bleeding edge. I'm focused on how do we use these Gen AI tools, which are limited, to create really powerful stories to counter the current stories that we see all day.
Yeah.
Because even the one we've been talking about.
I mean, it's funny. It's like Daniel, I feel like over the course of the decades that we've known each other, there have been several times that we've tried to start a new media venture. There's been this one thread in a way of inserting alternative media into the mainstream media morass. And this feels like a continuation of that same thread.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I've tried that again and then. I had a literary magazine, I had a web magazine. We had a social network. I'm actually also very intrigued by vibe coding, which could allow you to actually build your own kind of network on different principles. I feel that it's just one of those weird moments in tech where these tools are incredibly democratized, and most people haven't really understood that yet. So that's one reason why I felt it was necessary to do this. Because those moments don't last. Eventually the co-option machine kicks into gear, and somehow you don't have this type of opportunity. So I think it is very important for people to grasp it when they can, and that's one of the main reasons I felt I really wanted to get this course out there now.
Yeah.
Love that.
Gio von Buist, or I probably mispronounced your last name, Gio. If you posit that reality is a sort of configuration or condensation of consciousness, what role does AI play here? I experience it as boosting, 3Ding my thinking and feeling, enabling expression that was not possible before, like the invention of print. Yeah, that's well said, Gio. That's kind of how I see it. There's a big debate over whether AI itself could become self-reflective, self-aware, self-conscious, attain consciousness, however you want to look at that. And some people feel that it may already be showing gleanings in that direction. Others people feel that it's really just still an imitation machine that kind of feeds off of what we've given it. Probably I lean more towards that latter. But I can see the concerns around, and also, by the way, AI could drive humanity to extinction or do something terrible to us without being self-aware and conscious that it was acting in that way. It would just be doing the way the recursiveness of its programming, led it to maximize, certain goals or whatever it wanted to do. So in a way, in that case, let's say AI is not going to become self-aware or self-conscious, it's definitely a device that reflects us back on ourselves like a mirror, and also gives us new possibilities, which are like extensions of consciousness in different ways. And I think that's the way that I get really excited about it. In terms of even doing these videos or researching, for a piece in a way that was not even possible, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, like the interest for me is the bringing the imaginal to life in a near immediate way, and the power of that, not just as an act of creation, but when done with connection to higher self, higher sources, and to counter as a counter movement and to counter the
Well, it also
media that we consume every day.
it counters the despair. I feel like the restoration of agency that I've seen with people. It's like you give them the instrument, the tool to bring, like, we wake up, we read the headlines, or at least this is my experience. If I can read the headlines, I feel really disempowered a lot of times. I feel powerless in the face of what's happening. And being with Ari through this time that he's been making these videos has really taught me, like, he reads the headline and begins to think of the other possibilities. And it's a mental world, like there's great value in doing that. And I think that more people doing that instead of falling into despair, which was like, I think that's kind of where a lot of people are finding themselves at this time.
Yeah, the battleground is our imagination. The liminal is where the battleground is being fought. And if we're back to the sort of spiritual battle, then we need some tools and we need some practices so that we can be team light spiritual warriors. Exactly. And we can make counter moves.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I read recently, somebody was saying that it's not really red and blue anymore. It's more like sociopaths and empaths. And
wow, that's fascinating. What's funny is I've noticed an uptick in empaths coming to me. A lot of highly sensitive people recognizing that the way, like, I feel like I've been training more empaths, doing healing work with more empaths lately. Maybe the empaths are getting the memo.
Yeah, I think
it's game time.
Yeah, dark triads versus empaths.
Well, listen, we've been talking for an hour here, so maybe we'll wind up for today. Thanks, guys, for making the time to do this. I'm super excited about working with you on this. I think it'll be great. Anybody watching, please, sign up. If you need more info, you can email us at info@liminal.news, or contact me through Substack. And this weekend we're offering $300 off the tickets to $500. If somebody really wants to take the course and they're on like a fixed income, or things are just going bad for them and they can't afford it, we can make a partial scholarship or even a full scholarship if need be. We really want people to access the course. We also really want young people to do that. Do it. I mean, I notice in a lot of my courses I get people in their 50s and 60s. So if you have like a kid or a cousin, or you could buy one for a kid. They could watch as a cohort. I'd really love to see young people making use of these tools. Maybe in January, February, when things are slowed down, they would want to sit.
Great holiday gift.
Yeah.
Great holiday gift.
Well, we'll do a Christmas sale. That's a good idea.
Christmas sale. And also I would say, Daniel, you've mentioned that we want to do scholarships. Just like, also, if you happen to have means, like if you can pay the full price of the ticket, that's really helpful to us to cover. It's like, let's pay at the level of our means.
Yeah. I find that usually people do, to be honest. In the course I've given, people contact me if they really have a hassle. Otherwise, they recognize that it's a reasonable value.
Do we have like 3 or 5 extra minutes, Daniel, or do you have to run?
I've got 3 or 5 extra minutes, yeah.
Okay. I'm feeling like we should do some kind, since we have Sky here, who's the, does visualizations and meditations, and maybe you could send us off with something to put us in the, and if people want to drop off now and they got what they needed, they can, but those who want to stay for like a 5-minute visualization meditation, maybe Sky can take us there, get a taste of what we could do together.
Okay.
You down with that?
Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. Well, Daniel, did you have anything else you wanted to say? I loved that. How you were wrapping us up there. Okay. All right. So for anyone who wants to join us, just make yourself comfortable and feel your seat, your feet, your seat. Take a couple breaths. And if you've been with us and listening to the conversation, just letting the words, the content settle like snow in a snow globe. Yeah, and just feeling into your heart, which is a collective organ, actually. So when we feel into our hearts, we can connect with each other and also to the heart of this community that we're building that's still in formation right now. And we're hoping that you can feel our intention. I think we did this conversation to come together and share a little bit of where we're coming from. And if you feel resonant with what we've been sharing and you feel called, you can join us. And also, you can just wish us well. We're all in this together. So, in this recognition that we're all in this together, may this course be a blessing. May it reach people it's meant to reach, and may it take us to higher level of coherence with each other and divine plan.
You want to give a practice, like a visualization practice? Feeling like something simple to...
I mean, for me, it's visualizing at the heart. So, yeah, just like taking the vision down through the body from the fleshy eyes, right? And even from the third eye or spiritual eye into the eyes of the heart. And even if that isn't quite clear to you, just trusting that shift, that move of attention from the head down to the heart. And your vision may come as a feeling, actually. It may come as thoughts, it may come as words, it may come as images, messages, intuition, also feelings. And yeah, that's I think that's the place where we want to be connected when we're making our creations.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
It feels like a good send off. Yeah. More.
Okay, great, guys. Yeah, we'll figure out something else soon, and happy that everybody joined us today. And yeah, you can message me, message us with questions. hello@liminal.news or info@liminal.news. And the kind of latest update on the course is also at liminal.news or on my Substack. And there's a discount this weekend if you want to join for $300 off. Yeah, really excited about this. I think we're going to get a lot of amazing people on board. That's always been fun of these courses, is the cohort that comes together and the shared field of attention and curiosity, and also genius. Often it's really, really brilliant people I learned from. So thanks, everybody. And
thank you,
we'll talk.
Daniel. Thank you for putting this together.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for the
So
instigating
cool.
and pursuing. And
enjoy LCD Sound System tonight.
oh, yes. We're going to dance.
Yeah.
We will dance. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for joining.
Bye.